When my husband told me our 15-year marriage was over through a cold legal letter, I collapsed on our Italian marble kitchen floor sobbing. Days later, I was standing in an empty house with frozen bank accounts and a custody battle threatening to take my children. That's when I realized marriage certificates are just pretty paper boats floating on an ocean of lies. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button right now and tell me where you're from in the comments. Because trust me, this story is about to twist harder than a tornado in a trailer park, and you'll want to be here when the lightning strikes. My name is Rebecca Langley, and a month ago I had it all. A gorgeous 5-bedroom colonial in Oakwood Heights. 2 beautiful children, Emma, 12, and Liam, 9, who still wanted goodnight kisses. And James, my college sweetheart turned husband, whose investment firm had finally hit the big time after years of struggle. The morning it happened was so ordinary it feels cruel in retrospect. Tuesday, April 16th. I remember because Emma had a science project due and Liam couldn't find his soccer cleats. The usual chaos. James had left early for an important meeting. He'd been doing that a lot lately. The doorbell rang at 9:17 a.m. A courier with an envelope from Blackwell and Associates, a law firm I'd never heard of. "Are you Rebecca Langley?" He looked bored, chewing gum. "Yes. Sign here." I signed and took the envelope inside, tossing it onto the counter while I refilled my coffee. Just some financial paperwork, I thought. James was always having me sign things. The thick cream envelope sat there like a snake. When I finally opened it, the first words jumped out like they were printed in neon: petition for dissolution of marriage. My coffee mug shattered on the floor. My phone buzzed with a text from James. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way. My lawyer advised against telling you in person. It's better for everyone. Script part separator . I stood there, frozen in disbelief, coffee soaking into my slippers. My fingers trembled as I flipped through the document. Each page was worse than the last. Irreconcilable differences, full custody of minor children, temporary restraining order on joint financial assets. A restraining order? On our money? I grabbed my phone and dialed James's number. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. And again. Nothing. I texted, "Call me right now." "What is happening?" 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then, "My lawyer says no direct communication. I'll explain everything to the kids tonight when I pick them up." Pick them up? As if they were dry cleaning? I clutched the counter to keep from falling. The doorbell rang again. Another courier. This time with a thick stack of documents, financial disclosures. As I flipped through them, my stomach dropped. According to these papers, our joint accounts had been emptied 2 days ago. Our investment portfolio transferred. Even the children's college funds showed a zero balance. "Mom, what's wrong?" Emma stood in the doorway, her backpack slung over one shoulder. I quickly wiped my tears. "Nothing, sweetie. Just some boring grown-up stuff." "You're crying over boring grown-up stuff?" I forced a smile. "Go finish getting ready for school. We're leaving in 10 minutes. After dropping the kids off, I drove straight to our bank. The teller's sympathetic look told me everything before she spoke. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Langley. The accounts were legally frozen this morning. There's nothing I can do. But I need to buy groceries. Pay the mortgage." She slid a brochure across the counter. "You might want to speak with a family attorney." Back home, I sat in our walk-in closet and noticed half the space empty. James's clothes were gone. His luggage. Even his favorite aftershave. This wasn't impulsive. He'd been planning this. For how long? I called my best friend, Emily. "He did what?" She shrieked. "That sneaky, conniving bastard. I'm coming over right now." 20 minutes later, Emily stormed through my front door with wine, chocolate, and a business card. "Michael Brennan," she said, handing me the card. "The best divorce attorney in the state. He handled my cousin's divorce when her husband tried to hide assets in the Caymans. Honey, James picked the wrong woman to mess with. Script part separator . I called Michael's office from my bathroom floor, where I'd been sitting for the past hour with my wedding album open on my lap. "Brennan Legal," a crisp voice answered. "I need to speak with Michael." It's an emergency. My voice cracked on the last word. The receptionist hesitated. Mr. Brennan is fully booked for the next 3 weeks, but tell him it's about James Langley, Emily whispered, and I repeated it. There was a pause. Hold, please. 2 minutes later, a deep voice came on the line. Mrs. Langley? Michael Brennan here. I can see you at 4 today. Emily raised her eyebrows. I mouthed thank you to her. By 4 o'clock, I sat in Michael Brennan's office, a sleek space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown. He was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with salt and pepper hair and piercing eyes that missed nothing. So, he said, reviewing the papers I'd brought, your husband ambushed you with divorce papers, froze all accounts, and plans to take your children. Classic scorched earth tactic.
But why?
We weren't even fighting. 2 weeks ago, we were planning a summer vacation to Italy. Michael leaned forward. Mrs. Langley. Rebecca, please. Rebecca. Men like your husband don't make moves this aggressive without a reason. He studied me. Did he mention another woman? I shook my head. No, but I thought of the late nights, the business trips, the new cologne. But you suspect. I nodded, tears welling up. The good news is, what he's done gives us leverage. Judges don't look kindly on spouses who financially strand their partners, especially mothers of minor children. He made some notes. The bad news is, we need to move fast. Very fast. What do you mean? James filed these papers Tuesday, which means he's been planning for months. The restraining order on assets is temporary, 10 days, but in that time, he's likely moving things where we can't find them. Michael's eyes narrowed. Do you have any cash? Credit cards in your name only? I nodded weakly. About $3,000 in my personal account. 1 credit card with a $5,000 limit. That won't last long. We need to get emergency spousal support ordered immediately. Just then my phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Mom, where are you? Dad's here with suitcases, saying we're staying at his new place tonight. He says you knew about this? My heart stopped. Script part separator equals. I stood up so fast Michael's desk shook. He's taking my children right now. I showed him the text. He told me he'd pick them up tonight, but I thought we'd talk to them together. Michael reached for his desk phone. Address? He snapped. I gave him our home address, my voice trembling. Donna, he barked to his assistant through the intercom, called Judge Wilson. Tell him we need an emergency temporary order preventing removal of minor children in the Langley case.
Now.
He looked at me.
Go home.
Don't engage physically with James. Record everything on your phone. I'll meet you there with the sheriff if I can get the order. I broke every speed limit driving home. The sight of James's Audi in the driveway sent a surge of rage through me. I parked haphazardly and ran inside. James stood in our foyer, 2 suitcases at his feet. Emma and Liam looked confused and frightened. What are you doing? I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady for the children's sake. James's face was a mask I'd never seen before, cold, determined. Kids, go wait in the car. Your mother and I need to talk. Don't move, I told them. This is your home. Rebecca, James's voice dropped to a warning tone. Don't make this harder. I pulled out my phone and hit record. I am not the one making anything hard. You emptied our accounts, froze our assets, and now you're trying to take our children without discussion? His eyes flickered to the phone. Turn that off.
No.
Explain yourself.
Right now.
James sighed dramatically. I've been advised not to have this conversation. The papers explain everything. The papers say nothing. They're full of lies. Mom, what's happening? Liam's voice was small, frightened. I knelt down. Nothing, sweetheart. You're staying home with me. Actually, James cut in. The judge granted me temporary custody pending evaluation. That's impossible. But even as the words left my mouth, I saw the document in his hand. How had he moved so quickly? Kids, he said firmly, get in the car. Emma looked between us, tears streaming down her face. I don't want to go. Script part separator The sight of my daughter's tears broke something inside me. You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to, I said, moving to stand between James and our children. James's face darkened. Rebecca, this isn't helping anyone. The court order. Show me the order, I demanded, hand outstretched. He hesitated, then handed me the document. I scanned it quickly, lawyer speak jumping out at me. This is a petition, James. Not an approved order. You lied to me, again.
His jaw tightened.
My lawyer assured me it's just a formality. Your lawyer is wrong. Michael's voice cut through the tension as he appeared in my doorway, flanked by a uniformed sheriff's deputy. Mrs. Langley has filed an emergency counterpetition, which Judge Wilson has just approved. The deputy stepped forward. Sir, I need you to step away from the children. James's face contorted with rage. This is ridiculous. I'm their father, and she's their mother, Michael said coolly, in their established home. You can't remove them without a court order, which you don't have. Dad? Liam's voice trembled. I watched James transform before my eyes, the mask of rage replaced with the charming smile I once loved. He knelt down. It's okay, buddy. Just a mix-up. You'll come stay with me soon, okay? At my amazing new place. The deputy handed James paperwork. You're required to maintain distance of at least 100 feet from Mrs. Langley and this residence until the emergency hearing on Friday. James's eyes met mine over the children's heads. You have no idea what you've started, he whispered. But as he walked out the door, suitcases in hand, I realized something. For 15 years, I'd been the supporting character in James's story. Now it was time to write my own. Mom? Emma's hand slipped into mine. Is Dad gone? I pulled both children close.
Just for a little while.
We have some things to figure out. Michael waited until they'd gone upstairs before turning to me. We bought some time, but Friday's hearing is crucial. We need to find what he's hiding. Hiding? Then don't burn their lives down without a reason. There's something he doesn't want you to find. Michael's eyes narrowed. And we have exactly 72 hours to discover what it is. Script part separator . That night, after the children finally fell asleep in my bed, their bodies curled against mine like when they were toddlers, I crept downstairs to James's home office. The sleek mahogany desk where he'd spent countless late nights catching up on work now looked sinister in the moonlight. I flipped on his desk lamp and began searching. Nothing in the drawers. Nothing in the filing cabinet. I ran my fingers along the bookshelf, remembering how James always joked about having secret compartments like in the movies.
Wait.
I pulled out the leather-bound copy of The Art of War he kept prominently displayed. Behind it, a small key taped to the wall. My heart hammered as I removed it. But what did it open? I scanned the room, my eyes landing on the painting behind his desk, an abstract piece he'd insisted on buying last year for an obscene amount of money. I lifted it off the wall. There it was, a small wall safe I never knew existed. The key fit perfectly. Inside, a USB drive, a passport I'd never seen before, and a stack of papers labeled offshore holdings. My phone rang, making me jump. Rebecca? It's Michael. I've been doing some digging. James's firm has been under SEC investigation for months. Did you know? I clutched the papers in my hand. No, but I think I just found out why. What did you find? Evidence. My voice was surprisingly steady. I need you to look at these papers right away. I'll send my investigator over first thing tomorrow. Don't tell anyone what you found. Not even Emily. Why not Emily? Michael paused. Because according to what I've uncovered, your husband has been having an affair with someone close to you. Very close. The room spun. Emily? That's impossible. She's been my best friend since. Not Emily, Michael interrupted. Her husband, David. I dropped the phone. Script part separator . The papers scattered across the floor as I fumbled to pick up my phone. What did you just say? I whispered. David Reynolds. Emily's husband. He and James have been involved for at least 2 years. My mind raced through a slideshow of memories. James and David at barbecues, coaching Liam's soccer team together, the guys' fishing weekends they'd started taking last year. That's impossible, I stammered. James isn't. The evidence suggests otherwise. Bank records show James purchased a condo under an LLC last year. Both men have been spotted there regularly. Does Emily know? My voice cracked. That's what I'm trying to determine, Michael said. This complicates things. If Emily's been kept in the dark like you have, she could be a powerful ally. If she knows. She doesn't, I said firmly. She couldn't. After hanging up, I sat motionless in James's leather chair, the gravity of the situation crushing down on me. This wasn't just about money or custody anymore. This was about a double life, a complete fabrication of the man I thought I knew. Morning came with a pounding headache and the realization that I hadn't slept. I made breakfast for the children, smiling through their questions about Dad, wondering if our entire life had been a performance. The doorbell rang at 9 a.m. sharp. Michael's investigator, a no-nonsense woman named Valerie with short silver hair and eyes that missed nothing, began methodically photographing every document I'd found. Mrs. Langley, she said, examining the offshore account statements, these show transfers of nearly $12 million to a Cayman Islands account. Did you know your husband had this kind of money? No, I said weakly. His firm was successful, but not 12 million successful. Valerie nodded. You might want to sit down for this next part. She pulled out her laptop, turned it toward me, and hit play on a video. Security footage from what looked like a hotel lobby. James walking in, arm around David's waist. The timestamp showed 3 weeks ago, when James told me he was at a conference in Chicago.
There's more, Valerie said.
The money appears to be coming from investor funds. Your husband may not just be divorcing you. He might be preparing to disappear. Script part separator . I stared at the screen, watching my husband with my best friend's husband. The intimacy between them wasn't what shocked me. It was the casualness. Like they'd been this way forever while I lived in blissful ignorance. Just then my phone rang. Emily. I let it go to voicemail. Valerie raised an eyebrow. You should talk to her. Find out what she knows. I'm not ready. Mrs. Langley, Friday's hearing is in 48 hours. We don't have time for ready. She was right. I called Emily back, my voice surprisingly steady. Hey, I've been trying to reach you. How are you holding up? I need to see you. Alone. Without David. Silence. Then, he's at work. Come over. 30 minutes later, I sat in Emily's pristine living room where we'd shared countless wine nights and secrets. I placed my phone on the coffee table between us, the video queued up. What's going on, Becca? You look terrible. I pressed play without a word. Emily's face transformed as she watched her husband and mine enter the hotel, James's hand sliding lower down David's back as they laughed about something. All color drained from her face. When? She whispered. 3 weeks ago. But apparently, it's been going on for years. Emily's hands began to shake. Is this some kind of sick joke? There's more. James has been moving money offshore.
Milio.
I think they're planning to leave the country after the divorce. Together. She stood up suddenly, knocking over her water glass. Get out. Emily, please. Get out of my house. Her scream was primal, wounded. I grabbed my phone and backed toward the door. He took everything from me, I said quietly. And now I find out he's been taking from you too. Her eyes, wild with pain, fixed on mine. Just go. Script part separator . I slumped into the driver's seat, my hands shaking too badly to put the key in the ignition. Part of me wanted to comfort Emily, to remind her we'd been friends long before we'd met our husbands. The other part knew she needed space to process this betrayal. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Court tomorrow 9 a.m. Judge Harmon assigned to case. Conservative, family values. Dress accordingly. The next morning, I dropped the kids at my mother's house with a vague explanation about grown-up business. Their confusion broke my heart. When is Daddy coming home? Liam asked. I stroked his hair. I don't know, sweetheart. Is it because of me? His bottom lip trembled. Because I broke his golf trophy? I knelt down, looking him straight in the eyes. No, baby. Never. This has nothing to do with you, or Emma. Dad and I are just figuring some things out. At home, I laid out my most conservative outfit, a navy blue dress that fell below the knee, pearl earrings, minimal makeup. Judge Harmon would see a devoted mother, not the emotional wreck I truly was. As I was applying mascara, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Emily, eyes red-rimmed but determined. "I need to tell you something," she said, her voice hoarse. "Something about James you don't know." "Emily, I'm due in court in an hour. It's about the money." She pushed past me into the foyer. "The real reason he needs it. And it's not just for him and David." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "There's another family, Rebecca, in Phoenix. Script part separator equals. I staggered back, clutching the banister for support. "Another family?" Emily's face was grim. "A woman named Sophia Mercer. And a little boy who looks exactly like Liam." My legs gave out. I sank onto the stairs, images flooding my mind. James's quarterly trips to Arizona for client meetings. The mysterious phone calls he took outside. The extra cell phone I once found in his golf bag that he claimed belonged to a colleague. "How do you know this?" I whispered. "After you showed me that video, I confronted David. He broke down completely. Told me everything. James has been living this double life for 6 years." She pulled out her phone, showing me a social media profile. A beautiful dark-haired woman holding a boy about 5 years old. The resemblance to Liam was undeniable. The room spun. 6 years? That means he was already involved with them when Liam was born, Emily confirmed. David swears he only found out about them last year, which is when their relationship started. The affair was bad enough, but this? An entire secret family? My children had a half-brother they didn't know existed. "Michael needs to know about this immediately," I said, reaching for my phone. Emily grabbed my wrist. "David says James is dangerous, Rebecca. He's desperate. The money he's hiding? It's not just his. It belongs to investors. People who won't take kindly to being robbed." "You mean?" "I mean he's stolen millions from very powerful people, and he's planning to disappear with David and this other family." I stared at her, a cold realization dawning. "That's why he wants the children. They're part of his escape plan." Emily nodded grimly. "They're booked on a private flight to Costa Rica. Next Tuesday. Script part separator equals. I had exactly 4 days to stop my husband from kidnapping our children and disappearing forever. The courtroom the next morning buzzed with tension. James sat across the aisle with his attorney, Maxwell Pritchard, a shark in an expensive suit who specialized in helping wealthy men keep their money in divorces. James wouldn't meet my eyes. He kept checking his watch, whispering urgently to Maxwell. He looked nervous. "Good," Michael whispered beside me. "Fear means he's vulnerable." Judge Harmon entered, a stern-faced woman in her 60s who, according to Michael, had no patience for games. "Your Honor," Maxwell began smoothly, "my client seeks temporary custody of his children while this unfortunate matter is resolved. Mrs. Langley has been emotionally unstable since." "Objection." Michael stood. "Counsel is making unfounded character attacks without evidence." "Sustained," Judge Harmon said sharply. "Mr. Pritchard, stick to facts." Maxwell cleared his throat. "Mr. Langley can provide stability during this transitional period and—" "Your Honor," Michael interrupted, "before we proceed further, we need to address Mr. Langley's financial misconduct and flight risk." James's head snapped up. "We have evidence," Michael continued, "that Mr. Langley has transferred approximately $12 million to offshore accounts in preparation to flee the country." Judge Harmon's eyes narrowed. "That's a serious accusation, Counselor." "We have documentation," Michael said, nodding to his assistant, who approached with a thick folder. "And there's more, Your Honor. Mr. Langley has a second family in Phoenix. A woman named Sophia Mercer and their son." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. James's face drained of color. "This is absurd." Maxwell sputtered. "These outlandish claims are supported by evidence," Michael finished, producing the social media photos and bank records showing regular payments to Sophia Mercer over 6 years. James leapt to his feet. "This is a violation of my privacy." Sit down, Mr. Langley, Judge Harmon ordered. Her gaze was glacial. Mr. Brennan, continue. Script part separator equals. Your Honor, Michael said, pulling out the final piece of evidence, a printed email confirmation. Mr. Langley has booked a private flight to Costa Rica next Tuesday, a non-extradition country. He's planning to take the children and disappear with his stolen funds. James shot to his feet again. This is all being taken out of context. Judge Harmon's gavel came down with a crack. Mr. Langley, one more outburst, and I'll hold you in contempt. I watched my husband, this stranger, as he sank back into his seat, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. The judge reviewed the documents, her expression growing darker with each page. Mr. Langley, she finally said, these allegations are extremely troubling. Do you deny them? James glanced at his lawyer, who was frantically scribbling notes. Your Honor, there are explanations for all of this. That wasn't my question. Judge Harmon cut in. Do you deny having another family in Phoenix? Silence filled the courtroom. I could hear my own heartbeat. No, Your Honor, he finally said. But Rebecca knew our marriage was in trouble. She just wouldn't admit it. I sat there, stunned by his audacity. I'd suspected nothing. Not the affair with David, not the secret family, not the financial crimes. In light of this evidence, Judge Harmon continued, I'm granting Mrs. Langley temporary full custody of the children. Mr. Langley, you are to surrender your passport to the court immediately. Furthermore, I'm freezing all discovered assets pending further investigation. She turned to me. Mrs. Langley, the court sympathizes with your position. All assets in your husband's name will be subject to forensic accounting. Child and spousal support will be determined once we have a full financial picture. I felt lightheaded with relief, but Michael squeezed my arm in warning. This wasn't over. As we stood to leave, James caught my eye across the courtroom. The look he gave me wasn't of defeat. It was of pure, cold hatred. Script part separator equals. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us, like hungry wolves. Mrs. Langley, how long have you known about your husband's double life? Do you have a statement about the alleged financial crimes? Michael steered me through the crowd with a firm hand on my elbow. My client has no comment at this time, he repeated as cameras flashed around us. We ducked into his waiting car, the door closing on the shouted questions. You did well in there, Michael said, as we pulled away. But this is just the beginning. James won't go down without a fight. What happens now? My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Now we protect you and the children. James lost round one, but men like him always have contingency plans. He wasn't wrong. When I arrived home, my front door was ajar. Inside, drawers had been emptied, papers scattered. My laptop was gone. The safe in James's office stood open and empty. I called Michael immediately. Don't touch anything, he ordered. I'm sending security to your house and notifying the police. An hour later, 2 officers walked through my ransacked home, taking notes. Yes, ma'am. We'll file the report, but without evidence of forced entry. Michael arrived with a burly man named Frank. Private security, he explained. He'll stay here tonight. After the police left, my phone rang with an unknown number. Hello? I answered cautiously. Rebecca. James's voice, cold as ice. You've made a terrible mistake. The only mistake I made was trusting you for 15 years. His laugh was chilling. You think you've won? I built everything we have. Everything. Without me, you're nothing. I have a security team in my house and a restraining order against you, I reminded him. You're the one who's nothing now. All that security can't watch everyone, Rebecca. He paused. How's your mother? Still living alone in that big house by the lake? My blood ran cold. Are you threatening my mother? Just making conversation about family. Speaking of which, I want to see my children. The court says supervised visitation only. Court orders are just paper. Remember that. He hung up. I called my mother immediately, my hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. No answer. I grabbed my purse and ran to the door. Where are you going? Frank asked, blocking my path. My mother's not answering. James just threatened her. Frank made a quick call, then nodded. Let's go.
I'll drive.
20 minutes later, we pulled up to my mother's house. The front door was open, lights blazing. Mom? I called, running inside. She sat in her kitchen, pale but unharmed. James was just here, she said. He took the children. The world tilted beneath my feet.
What?
He said there was an emergency, that you'd been in an accident. The kids went with him willingly. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. I just got your voicemail warning me not to let them go with him.
I'm so sorry.
Frank was already on the phone with Michael. The police arrived minutes later, issuing an Amber Alert for Emma and Liam. I sat clutching my mother's hand, a single thought pounding through my head. He's going to disappear with my children. Then my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Grand Star Marina. Slip 42. Come alone, or you'll never see them again. I looked up from the phone, my heart pounding like thunder. The choice before me wasn't a choice at all. If you're still watching this story, press that subscribe button right now. Because after everything I've shared, after all the betrayal and heartbreak, what happened next changed me forever. The marina was 30 minutes away. Every second felt like an eternity as Frank sped through traffic, police cruisers following at a distance. He'll see them, I warned. He said to come alone. Mrs. Langley, Frank said firmly, men who take children rarely intend happy reunions. The implication hit me like a physical blow. James wouldn't hurt our children, would he? But then, I'd been wrong about everything else. Michael called, his voice urgent. Rebecca, we've located Sophia Mercer. She's at the marina too with her son. James is planning to take all 3 children.
But why?
He never even wanted custody before this. Because children with valid passports make border crossings easier, Michael explained grimly. And your children have diplomatic passports from that UN program James enrolled them in last year. The pieces clicked together with horrifying clarity. The program that James had insisted would broaden their horizons had simply been another part of his escape plan. Night had fallen by the time we reached the marina. Lights twinkled across the water as expensive boats rocked gently at their moorings. Slip 42 belonged to a sleek 60-foot yacht aptly named Freedom. Stay in the car, Frank ordered, but I was already out, running toward the dock. I spotted them immediately. Emma and Liam huddled together on the deck, looking confused and frightened. A dark-haired woman stood nearby, holding a small boy's hand tightly. Sophia, I presumed, looking as terrified as I felt. And there was James, speaking intently with David. Both men froze when they spotted me.
Mom.
Emma cried, starting toward me, but James grabbed her arm. That's far enough, Rebecca, he called. This doesn't concern you anymore. Those are my children, I said, stepping onto the dock. Of course it concerns me. James's laugh was brittle. Your children? I made them. I provide for them. They're mine. Dad, you're hurting me, Emma whimpered, trying to pull away from his grip. Something changed in James's eyes then, a flicker of uncertainty. For a heartbeat, I glimpsed the man I thought I'd married. James, I said softly, taking another step forward. This isn't you. Whatever trouble you're in, we can fix it. Fix it? His voice cracked. You have no idea what's coming. These people I borrowed from, they don't send strongly worded letters, Rebecca. They send men with guns. Behind me, I heard the soft approach of police officers. I needed to keep him talking. Then let the children go. They don't deserve this. We're leaving. Tonight. James's jaw set in that familiar stubborn line. Don't try to stop us. Actually, you're not going anywhere. Michael's voice rang out as he stepped onto the dock, flanked by uniformed officers. Federal agents are on their way, James. Securities fraud is just the beginning. David backed away, hands raised. I didn't know about any of this until it was too late, he stammered. He told me we were just taking a vacation. James's face contorted with rage. You spineless, he lunged toward David, releasing Emma's arm. She ran to me instantly, Liam right behind her. I gathered them against me, backing away as chaos erupted on the yacht. James made a desperate break for the controls, but officers swarmed the boat. I turned the children away as they handcuffed him, his shouts echoing across the water.
Mom?
Liam's voice was small against my shoulder. Is Dad a bad person? I held him tighter, watching as they led James away.
No, sweetheart.
He's just a person who made bad choices. 6 months later, I sat in another courtroom for James's sentencing. Securities fraud, conspiracy, attempted kidnapping. The charges had multiplied as investigators unraveled his schemes. He didn't look at me once. Emily sat beside me, our friendship slowly healing. She'd filed for divorce from David, who had received